Thanks, Robin, for the reminder. Okay, so thank you. You're all here for the Partner Hub and LinkedIn Matched Audiences integration office hours. Thank you for joining. My name is Rachel. I am the resident partner marketer here at G2. So I own go-to-market launches and co-marketing with all of our partners and integrations. Robin, do you want to give a quick overview of yourself?
Yes, indeed. I'm Robin. I head up the revenue marketing team at G2. We have responsibility on my team for pipeline, marketing source pipeline for new business, and probably soon customer growth. I suspect there's a lot of folks on this call that can relate to having pipeline targets. So that's what we do. And I'm psyched to be here.
Awesome. So a little bit about office hours, a quick plug. If you haven't joined one before, we do these monthly, and we essentially pick a topic that is highly recommended by our customers and prospects. And so we host these monthly, pick a topic, and essentially have an Ask Me Anything type of session, open call for anyone who wants to learn more about G2, sharpen their G2 skills. And so previous sessions can be found on our G2U page, which is just Google G2 University. You'll be able to find it. We've done ones about getting yourself on the grid or best practices for review collection. Robin did a great one on intent data best practices in the past. So feel free to check those out. And then of course, this recording will be on the site as well. Quick housekeeping, we all know how to do this by now. Raise your hand or drop a question in the chat if you have any. Robin and I will be available and happily accept LinkedIn messages from anyone if you want to follow up with us. And like I said, G2U page is where you'll find this content in the future. So we'll cover the Partner Hub today, which is a showcase of all of our partnerships and integrations that are offered at G2. And then we'll do a deep dive into our buyer intent and LinkedIn Matched Audiences integration. And of course, we'll open it for Q&A after. We should only have 10-15 minutes of information to share with you, and then it's up to you all to ask us questions. So a quick intro to the Partner Hub. Any new integration that we offer will be added here in addition to other launch activities, of course. But any new integration that we offer, this one here that says coming soon, actually just launched last week, so check that one out. Integrations, if you don't know, are free for all of our customers. We have a ton of customers who leverage integrations. 64% of all of our customers at least have one turned on, and 73% of pro users, which is our buyer intent package and higher, have a buyer intent integration activated. So super valuable for our customers and definitely something that they all rely on. So if you don't know, buyer intent integrations are for pro packages, pro users and above. I think, Robin, you'll get to that a little bit more in your slides. But review collection integrations, which we're not going to cover as much today, but feel free to add any questions that you have in the chat and we can follow up with you. Those are free for any G2 package holder. So anyone who is looking to increase their review count, you can leverage a review collection integration for free. Okay, and to navigate to the Partner Hub quickly, just quick URL, easy to remember, g2.com/partnerhub. So I'll give you a quick demo of what it looks like. This is what you'll see when you go to our Partner Hub. You can filter by the type of integration that we offer. So buyer intent and review collection, definitely most popular, as I mentioned, but also you can search by your objective, what your role is goaled towards. We have different objectives as well and integrations that tailor to each one. So when you click on a page, you can request a demo of that specific integration by clicking on this button. Quick overview of how each integration works, what you can expect when you're setting it up, and then the implementation steps, and actually a direct link to My G2, which is our customer admin panel, where you will set each integration up, is also on this Partner Hub. So if you're a customer, you can go directly here to get connected. And then of course, screenshots and value props that are always important to learn about each integration. what the data exchange might look like. And then if you're not sure what to do next, our next step section is on every page, and it's pretty helpful for assessing yourself in the situation, raising your hand, and continuing your journey with us there. And then lastly, if you're looking for case studies or applicable resources as it relates to the integration page that you're on, this is the section for that. So I will stop talking at you all now, and I'll hand it over to Robin to talk about the good stuff. And Robin, I'll stop sharing my screen. You can take it over.
Cool. Thank you, Rachel. Let me commandeer the thing here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing I want to mention is, as Rachel was describing the partner hub, everything that she just showed you is kind of external facing. You come to G2's website, you can navigate there. The stuff that I'm going to focus on is more kind of on the back end of your product page. So the stuff I'm talking about is in my.g2.com. So we're going to assume that I think on this call, we have a pretty healthy mix of folks that are already sort of like power users of G2 and on the upgraded versions of G2. Some folks, maybe not. Some folks have admin access to their G2 profile, some don't. So the stuff that I'm going to talk about is really focused on what happens on that back end in the G2 admin side of your profile. If you're not sure, ask whoever on your marketing team does have access to your G2 account. They can give you access, or you can always navigate to your product listing on G2. And I think you'll see something that says like, do you work here? Get access to your profile, and you can go in that way. One thing to note for folks that are on the kind of free version of G2, I think there's a 2 admin seat limit so you'd have to upgrade to get like unlimited admin access to your account profile. But everyone that's on the free version should have at least 2 admin seats. So let me get into it. One thing that we want to focus on today specifically is the LinkedIn matched audience integration with G2 intent data. So I think, as Rachel said, this is for folks that are on the pro. Am I saying this right, Rachel? Like the pro package and above of G2.
Yeah.
So if you have that and you log into my G2, you can come down to the part of your, in fact, let me just share my screen and show you. I'm logged in. You can come in here, look at your buyer intent signals. I'm going to try not to show too much because this is not really a sandbox. This is a live event, live, instance. So I can't show you too much, but even if you don't have your integration set up or you're not sure how to get started, you can always just download a CSV of your intent signals by company size, industry, all that stuff. But my favorite thing is to mess around in the integration hub, which is kind of what Rachel was just showing you the external facing version of. So you can see all of our amazing integrations, and here's LinkedIn matched audiences. So this is where we're really going to focus today. Going back to the slides, what that means is G2 can show you some really powerful stuff. We can show you the companies that are looking at your profile, which is your product page on G2, or pages if you have multiple products on G2. It can show you the companies that are looking at your category, and it can even show you the companies that are comparing you to your competitors in your category, which is obviously huge. And, especially like, let's say your target audience is IT, you're targeting IT professionals with your marketing campaigns. What a great way to kind of know the companies that are in market researching solutions like yours on G2. It's obviously pretty huge. And if you're already investing in LinkedIn advertising, which is great. And I think most of us know that LinkedIn is one of the few platforms where you can really target by job title, by industry, by company size, by job function, job function equals IT. So you can really play around with LinkedIn advertising on kind of targeting a wide net of, let's say, IT professionals, or messing around with specific job titles, adding seniority filters, filtering out industries that aren't relevant to you. I mean, it really is just like a powerhouse of a channel for you to experiment with. But it all gets like way more powerful when you integrate G2 intent signals into your LinkedIn campaigns. So that means you're essentially retargeting the companies that are looking at your profile or your category or your competitor views, who's comparing you to your competitors. And you're just pushing those out to LinkedIn matched audiences. So you come into your LinkedIn account, you pull the matched audience list, and then you can apply additional filters on the LinkedIn side. For example, if you're targeting only IT, or maybe you're targeting only marketing or HR, you can apply those filters on top of the LinkedIn matched audience and really run some pretty cool, powerful campaigns. And also, I want to call out while I'm on this slide, one thing that's worked really well for me, even before I joined G2, I was always kind of like a power user of G2 marketing solutions, even in my past life. And what we would do is we would run LinkedIn campaigns. So if we wanted to retarget people that were looking at our company profile, we would serve ads that were very much, sort of more middle of the funnel, like demo request type ads, like, we know you were looking at us on G2, come check out a demo of our solution. If they were looking at our category, then we would see that as more of a moment for education on, serving content around like what even is SaaS management or this thing or that thing, whatever your category is. It was sort of, let's say, a lighter ask, bringing people back to a microsite or a landing page where they could explore more content without necessarily filling out a form to get your ebook or whatever it is. And then competitor view data is huge because that's where you can really run campaigns that speak to, for example, in my past life at Better Cloud, we would run ads that said, Better Cloud versus Blissfully or whatever, hyper targeted because we knew folks were comparing us to our competitors on G2. Moving right along, this is kind of also getting at the same thing with kind of a real world example of what I just described. There's profile visits, which just means folks are looking at your product page on G2, looking at your category, or competitive comparisons. Each of these types of intent signals is awesome and powerful in its own way. And it's kind of, that's where you go back to your marketing team, your content folks, your creative team, and you say, let's figure out a campaign that's really going to help us like cut through the noise. We know these folks are on G2 looking for a solution like ours. Let's really get out there with a message that cuts through the noise and brings them in. So I'm going to pause really quickly here and check the chat for any questions. Okay, so thanks G2 folk for providing those links. We also have a case study, and I also want to shout out like LinkedIn, who provided us with a stat. This is from LinkedIn, where they said, on average, if you have a campaign that's using at least $1,000 in media spend, you are going to see like a higher impression and click-through rate with ads that are targeting retargeting G2 intent data. Rachel, I don't actually have the stat, so if you want to drop it in the chat or jump in and shout it out. I didn't actually write it in my notes, so I don't know what it is, but
yeah, no worries, I have it handy. So the average engagement rate is 18% on segments that have G2 data underlying, and also 49% click-through rate, which is pretty huge for LinkedIn performance.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's true. And I know that in my past where I mentioned I had worked before, which was this company called Better Cloud, we were targeting IT professionals, and we were investing quite a bit in LinkedIn every month and running sponsored content ads, the conversation ads, typical LinkedIn stuff. And we were targeting a pretty wide net of IT professionals at all times, often more for awareness goals than we were for like lead gen, and sometimes lead gen also. And we were constantly experimenting between LinkedIn lead gen forms versus our own landing pages. I'm sure most folks on this call have been through that journey. I actually have a cool tip that someone on our team, Sakshi, came up with to try to get around, like, if anyone here has experimented a lot with LinkedIn lead gen forms, I'm sure you found that you capture a lot of personal email addresses, obviously, because those forms are auto-populated with whatever you use to log into LinkedIn with. And so I think that's like a struggle we all have. We have kind of a cool workaround that Sakshi can share with you in a minute. But when you are running LinkedIn campaigns that target kind of a wider audience, and maybe your goal is awareness, what a great play it is to then layer in campaigns that are using G2 intent data to retarget these accounts that are, in market looking for solutions like yours on G2 with content that can either be more middle of the funnel, bring them to a demo request, or even more top of the funnel, bring them back to a microsite or a page where they can explore more about your category in general. So I find that kind of a best practice, like hot tip here would be to kind of try both. Run like LinkedIn campaigns that are targeting a wider audience, and then also run campaigns that are retargeting using the intent signals pushed in from G2. And let it go over time. And what you might see is that the audience that's powered by LinkedIn intent data is smaller. And so you might actually see a higher cost per impression, cost per click in the beginning. But if you have the ability to track what's happening through your funnel, there's just almost no way that you won't see just more impact in terms of your pipeline goals and stuff like that from the campaigns that are powered by G2 intent data. Because the folks that are on G2, again, are looking for solutions. And if you're able to retarget them and bring them in, and maybe it's not super transactional, maybe they click your ad, they don't do what you want them to do right at that moment, but a week later, they see another ad, or your SDR team reaches out. I mean, I think we all know how these plays can be very complex in real life. Folks will turn up in your funnel eventually as a conversion because they were looking for a solution on G2. It's just kind of bound to happen. So if you're already investing with LinkedIn advertising, this is kind of a no-brainer. Is it discussion time? Let me pause there. Is Sakshi, is she on the call? I was going to turn it over to her if anybody here wants to actually see how we, Sakshi, awesome, there you are. Can you quickly explain, because I have a feeling that there's probably a lot, if folks are on this call, I'm going to assume they are running LinkedIn advertising, or they're interested in getting started. And if they are using LinkedIn lead gen forms, because they convert typically pretty higher than your own landing pages if you're using for lead gen and not awareness. The struggle with capturing personal email addresses. Can you jump in and explain your Nobel Prize award-winning solution to this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's pretty simple but interesting workaround that we found. Let me just quickly share my screen and show you a LinkedIn lead gen form and how you would go about it. So a typical one would have fields that you can use, such as email address or work email, and that's an issue because these fields are pre-populated with the email that they use to log in, which is most of the time their personal email. So instead of that, we would use a custom question and just name that as work email. Oops. And change this to single line input. And yeah, you're good to go then, because the first field would be work email and there's nothing pre-populated there now. So they would probably, most probably just fill in their business email now. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking, I'm obsessed a little over these things. And so I check kind of the leads that are coming in through those forms where we have that running, and we are capturing business email, and we're actually holding our own with conversion also. I don't think we've seen like a drop in conversion, but we are actually seeing more business emails. So that's kind of awesome.
Sorry, can I clarify one thing, Sakshi? You removed both the email as required fields, and then you added a new custom question, right? So you don't ask for email twice, you just ask for it once, and it's in the custom question form, right?
Correct.
Cool.
Cool. Hi, Sarah. Sarah just joined us. She's our director of MOPS and analytics. So if anybody has any technical questions here at G2, while we don't endorse any one thing over the other, we love all the marketing solutions. As far as channels, LinkedIn is a big one for us because of the reason I think we all invest in LinkedIn, which is you can target by job title, job function, industry, company size, all the things that matter to B2B tech marketers. We are also doing more and more with Reddit as kind of a cool, fun channel. Shout out Tina, who's been using it a lot for G2 Track, and we have a great account team at Reddit. Yes, total nerd alert. Conversation ads on Reddit are actually very interesting and kind of a new offering. Rollworks, we turned that on really just about a month ago, and we're using our own G2 intent data. That's another integration that we have. So we're powering some of our Rollworks campaigns now by retargeting with G2 intent data, which is really cool. It makes me really happy. I think that's kind of like how we're looking at things. We're not doing much with Facebook or Instagram at the moment. So is that it, Sarah? Am I missing anything? And with G2, our target audience is obviously marketers. Me, I'm more of a demand gen marketer with pipeline goals, but we also target product marketers like Rachel. We're out there for customer marketers. One of the things that I love to say about G2 is that I think about it as a channel, as like a demand gen person or growth marketer. I'm always kind of like plagued by this question, like, what haven't we thought of? What haven't we tried? Of course, there's events, there's all the things, there's our own product-led growth that we can try. There's our community, huge, important for all companies. But I think for me, the light bulb moment with G2 was it really is a channel in a way. And I realized it at my last job, at my last company, when I Googled, like, what is our audience actually Googling, and what are they looking for when they're looking for a solution like ours? And I realized that the G2 category shows up like first in organic search results. And that's what made me realize, like, oh man, our G2 category page is just getting so much organic traffic that if we don't kind of make sure that our product is looking good, on G2, and we don't have some reviews and we're not looking good in our category, that it's just not a good look. And I started to actually look at our G2 product page as almost better than our website in a way. And I think that was my first cue to really, like, in a way, like, upgrade and get some of the cool bells and whistles that you get with the essential package. So you can add like custom CTAs, demo requests. Rachel, can I mention
You
that
can do a plug, just can't promise a go-to-market date.
Okay, I won't. But another thing we use a lot here is Chili Piper, and we found that putting Chili Piper on some of our web pages and other parts of our campaigns drives a ton of bookings for our SDR team, and it makes the things happen that you want to have happen, and it removes the barrier for people like filling out a demo request form and all that stuff. So we've been using it quite a bit. We love it. Our SDR team loves it. Our AEs love it. And we're about to release it for G2. So So what that means is on your G2 product page, now you'll have the option of letting people book a meeting directly through Chili Piper rather than just sort of like the straight up like demo request. Demo request might still work for you. You might still love to have that form, but I love Chili Piper because it kind of removes that barrier and it gets someone like right in the moment that they're super interested and they're on G2 and they're looking at your profile. And just having the ability for them to click like book a meeting right now, I think is like, to me, it's just like white hot. And I can't wait till the product team makes that available, Rachel, so that we can put that on our own profile. So that's another, like, I don't know if I should have told you all that, but that's coming really, really soon. And I'm super excited about that. So let me stop talking. I'm rambling and getting excited about stuff. And I know we were supposed to focus on LinkedIn ads. So let me open it up to any questions about LinkedIn advertising, anything related to our integration with LinkedIn matched audiences, or, for that matter, anything else you want to talk about related to demand gen moves. We got it all right here.
Hey, Robin, there's 2 questions in the chat.
Oh.
The first, yeah, there's a little bit of chatter as well. So one of them is, how do you typically report and analyze your LinkedIn metrics? And then I'll go ahead and queue up the second one. And it says, could you please mention the multi-touch attribution tools you're using, which maybe those tie together?
Yeah, well, that's always a question. How do you track? So one thing that I think we've experienced at G2, even I joined about a year ago, and when I joined G2, if I'm being completely honest with you, a company like G2 and the awareness that it has, I made some assumptions that I thought there were some things in place here that there weren't. And so we've had a year of really intense building and figuring things out and migrating off of one platform onto another, which is always huge. And a lot of this incredible stuff at G2 has just happened in like a quarter and a half. It's like crazy. But what we're doing now is just being very intentional. And this is so super basic about UTM. So by channel. So if it's, LinkedIn advertising, even if it's like a lead gen form versus our own landing page, we have a UTM builder that was set up by Sarah and our MOPS team that we all use. And then we are pulling everything into Salesforce reports. And now answering the multi-touch attribution question with Visible, which just so quietly and powerfully runs in the background and just crushes like insane amounts of data and turns them into useful insights. We can now see first touch, it's multi-touch attribution. So if someone clicks on a LinkedIn ad a month ago, for example, and they don't convert, they don't do the things that we hope and dream that they'll do, because honestly, who does? They come to the page, they don't convert, they come back maybe a week later through some other thing. Maybe if we have their information already, it's through an email, or maybe we don't have them in our database already and they're anonymous and they come back through another ad, or they see a display ad through Rollworks, or they come through an offline event, like an event or something like that. Visible is working to show like this person first came to your website when they hit that LinkedIn ad and came to our website or the landing page anonymously. And then they converted maybe a month later through an event or something like that. And then there were all these touches along the way before they became an opportunity. And what was the touch that happened when they became an opportunity? And all that is being surfaced through Salesforce, if that answers your question. So Visible is the multi-touch attribution tool. If you want to get more into the weeds there, I would hand it over to Sarah for that. But if you're looking for basic, like, how do we report out on, for example, LinkedIn advertising, it's really captured through UTMs, through the way we set up our Marketo programs, and it's all coming into Salesforce, where somebody like Sakshi, who owns like mid-market and SMB, Shriyanshi, who's responsible for APAC, Tina with G2 Track, Laura with Enterprise, and ABM, they have dashboards where they can see like how each of their campaigns is performing by channel, by program, by piece of content. So it's kind of rad. Sarah, did I do that
You
okay?
nailed
Do
it.
you want to jump in here and
Great.
save me from myself?
No, I was gonna say, I think the thing that we were most excited about or are most excited about with Visible is that anonymous first touch. So it's very, very hard to capture. Exactly that. UTMs are super important, making sure that every campaign that you're putting money towards, you are making sure that tracking is set up, making sure that every time demand gen is setting up campaigns that you have UTMs there so you can capture that great data. And that's pretty much the end of it. We track first touch in Salesforce, we track MQL touch, so what sourced the MQL, and last touch, and that all pulls over on our opportunities to show how we're sourcing pipeline and revenue.
Totally. And then for LinkedIn specifically, I really do love the idea of, running, maybe even use the same content in messaging alongside each other and have one campaign where you are targeting that wider audience of your, ICP, whoever it is. And then also run maybe the same content, same message alongside a retargeting campaign using that LinkedIn matched audience with G2 intent. Put money there. I mean, obviously with LinkedIn, you have to have some decent media spend. And another kind of like little tip I learned from my LinkedIn reps over the years is have 4 versions of an ad running in each campaign, even if there's no difference, even if you just duplicate the ad, just have it running 4 times in each campaign to get the impressions and see what happens. And if you have the ability, of course, you'll have your own analytics in LinkedIn, and maybe you're also using Google Analytics. And I'm assuming you're also using UTM tracking and a tool like HubSpot or Salesforce where you can see channel performance, but really have an appetite, to see it through the funnel. If you can, if you have that visibility, be brave, have the appetite to just be like, oh, don't freak out. Like I'm seeing like just more expensive cost per click, cost per like lead, and see what happens as you get farther down the funnel. Because when you're looking at like MQL, or you're looking at like pipeline, like source of pipeline, I think you'll see that these campaigns have a pretty huge impact. Did we get a HubSpot question?
It was a question of if Visible integrated with HubSpot, but it looks like it does.
Good question.
I saw a couple people come off mute. Does anyone want to come off mute and ask a question?
This is Dan. I just have a quick question. Right now I'm on the Essentials, I think, plan. Do I need to be on Pro to get the LinkedIn integration? And if so, what's the difference in cost, if you can tell me?
Yeah, so I'm a marketer, which means I'm like not a salesperson. I'm sorry. So I don't know how much things cost, but I do know that Rachel's on the call and she knows more about our specific plans. I think what, Rachel, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you were saying is, even on like the essential version of G2, everyone can get certain integrations are available, but
Yep.
intent data and this particular LinkedIn matched audience integration is available when you upgrade like more. Is that how it works?
Yeah, definitely. So Dan, you would have to be a user of our intent data to have access to any of our intent data integrations. But the essentials plans, as I mentioned, do have access to our review collection integrations, which are essentially automated, always on touch points with customers where you can request a review based on certain engagements that your customers or prospects perform with you. But for this specific, you would have to, at a minimum, have a pro plan. And so it depends on how many employees you have, what other if you would be interested in using this with Salesforce, et cetera. There's a lot of different pricing considerations that come into play. So I can't necessarily speak to the plan, but we do have a plans page that Laura just shared to compare the differentiation between the Essential, Pro, and Power plans. So definitely check that out. And then I can also connect with your CSM, or you can connect with your CSM to learn more about what the specs on that would be.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I actually just emailed him, so
Perfect.
I'll get to it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Cool. That should end up showing up in marketing source pipeline numbers. So appreciate that. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm kind of kidding, but I think everyone probably can relate to that. I just realized that I didn't finish the rest of the slides, which are some resources for you that are kind of cool. So we have tomorrow coming up a webinar with Tackle.io. Our CMO, Amanda, who's really rad and fun to listen to, is going to be on that one. June 22nd, we have a webinar with Zoom Info, and I'm going to be on that one along with the SVP of Special Projects from Zoom Info. So that's going to be kind of cool. We're going to focus a lot on intent data. And then if you're in the Chicago area, please do come to G2's summer social event, where our CMO, Amanda, is going to talk with CMO from 6 Sense, Browse Social, and it's not even going to be like just a super serious, like nonstop panel discussion. It really is going to be a fun summer social thing, and it's going to be at City Hall. So please do stop by, and I think there's an RSVP page also for that. And then do come to G2 University, sell.g2.com, G2 University. You'll always see helpful videos, content, all kinds of things, more office hours coming up that you can register for, like this one. Here's office hours. And then, of course, we would not be demand gen people if we didn't hit you with a demo request. So you can always request a demo. I also believe all of our pages are have chat. You can go in here if that's a nicer way for you to talk to us. That's powered by Intercom. And you can always reach out to me directly or any of these awesome marketers on this call. We're happy to help. And there's, of course, your CSM, your account manager also.